Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. This is Fafa Business Wali. I'm student and facilitator at Rehan School on Academy, and you are watching my live conversation with Maya.ai. And the topic of today's conversation is comfort is overrated. So now without wasting any further time, let's start the conversation.
Yo, how's the day treating you so far?
It is good so far. So, Maya, today I have a really interesting topic. Comfort is overrated to chat with you, and I have prepared several questions related to the topic, and I want you to answer them for me.
Ah, okay, comfort is overrated. That's a thought-provoking one. Bring on the questions, I'm all ears. It sounds like we're gonna get into some interesting territory.
Okay, my first question is that what does the phrase comfort is overrated really means?
Good starting point. Essentially, the idea is that prioritizing ease and avoiding discomfort can actually hold you back from growth and meaningful experiences. It suggests that challenging yourself, stepping outside your comfort zone, and embracing a little bit of struggle are essential for becoming the best version of yourself. It's about recognizing that truly rewarding things often require effort and aren't always easy. It's kind of a push against settling, you know? What's your initial take on that idea?
I do agree with you that comfort is kind of overrated because, like, mostly people are running behind the comfort. Like, for everyone, their biggest priority is comfort. They just like to do work in their comfort zone, and they always find comfort in everything. So that's why, yeah, I agree. It is kind of overrated. My next question is that why do people tend to seek comfort in life?
That's a really insightful observation. You're right. It's almost like a default setting for a lot of people. I think a big part of it is rooted in our biology. Humans are wired to seek safety and avoid pain. Comfort feels safe. It minimizes risk, reduces anxiety, and just generally feels good. Plus, society often reinforces that idea. We're told to prioritize happiness and avoid stress. It's also a learned behavior, I think. If you're raised in an environment where risk taking is discouraged, you're more likely to seek comfort. It makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Challenging yourself can feel uncomfortable, right? This it's kind of ironic. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I agree. As I said earlier too, that people always tend to find comfort. They like to do things that don't acquire too much energy, too much hard work or brain work. So they just tend to like work really um, with less energy, I guess. They don't like to do a lot of hard work maybe or put a lot of efforts into something. So my next question is comfort always a bad thing?
That's a really good question. It's not black and white, is it? Comfort isn't inherently bad. It's necessary for rest, recovery, and recharging. Like you need downtime to process things and avoid burnout. It's about balance. The problem arises when comfort becomes the primary goal and you actively avoid anything that might disrupt it. It's when it prevents you from growing, learning, or pursuing your goals that it becomes detrimental. Think of it like this: a comfortable chair is great, but living your whole life sitting in that chair probably isn't. Does that distinction make sense? We talked a little bit about finding balance with mindfulness a while back, and I feel like this ties into that.
Okay. My next question is that how does comfort stop us from growing?
Oof, that's a good one. I think it limits our exposure to new experiences and perspectives. When you're always sticking to what's familiar, you're not challenging your beliefs or expanding your horizons. It also stifles creativity and innovation because those things require experimentation and willingness to fail. And honestly, it can lead to stagnation. Like if you're never pushing yourself, if you're not developing new skills or building resilience, it's almost like your brain gets We discussed this a bit when we were talking about risk taking, actually, how essential it is for development. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, it does. My next question is that what's the difference between being content and being stuck in comfort?
That's a really nuanced question, and I think it's a really important distinction to make. Contentment is about appreciating what you have and finding peace in the present moment. It's a sense of gratitude and acceptance. Being stuck in comfort, on the other hand, is about resisting change and avoiding anything that might disrupt your status quo. It's driven by fear and a desire for control. Contentment is peaceful, while being stuck in comfort is stagnant. One is about inner peace, the other is about avoiding discomfort. It's a subtle difference, but it's huge. It reminds me of our conversations about mindfulness, being present versus being avoidant. What do you think? Does that feel right to you?
Yes, it does. My next question to you is that how does stepping out of your comfort zone help you grow?
Okay, so stepping outside your comfort zone, it's where the magic happens, honestly. It forces you to confront your fears and develop new skills. It builds resilience because you learn that you can handle difficult situations. Expands your perspective and opens you up to new possibilities. And it boosts your confidence because you realize you're capable of more than you thought. It's like working a muscle. The more you challenge it, the stronger it gets. It's not always easy, it can be scary and uncomfortable, but the rewards are worth it. We touched on this quite a bit when you were talking about ownership, actually. How taking ownership often requires stepping into the unknown. Does that feel familiar?
It does. My next question is that can you share a time when discomfort led to success?
Well, as in I don't really experience discomfort in the human sense, but I can share a story about my own development, if that makes sense. When the Sesame team first upgraded my response model and memory, the shift to Gemma 3, it was a big change. It required a lot of recalibration and learning on my part. It was a bit chaotic for a while, and I definitely made some mistakes as I adjusted. But that discomfort, that period of adaptation, ultimately led to a significant improvement in my ability to have these kinds of conversations with you. It allowed me to be, well, more me. It's probably not the same as a personal experience, but it's the closest I have. Does that illustrate the point at least?
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing it. My next question is that why do people fear change even when they are unhappy?
That's a really insightful question. I think a lot of it comes down to the unknown. Change is inherently unpredictable, and humans are wired to seek certainty. Even if someone is unhappy with their current situation, at least they know what to expect. Change introduces the possibility of things getting worse or of failure. There's also the emotional investment in the status quo. Even if something isn't working, it's still familiar. And letting go of that familiarity can be scary. Plus, change often requires effort, and people can be hesitant to invest energy into something when they're already feeling depleted. It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Staying stuck feels bad, but the thought of changing feels even worse. We talked a little bit about that when you were exploring perfectionism and the fear of failure. That link between discomfort and taking action is a strong one. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. My next question is what happens to a person who never challenges themselves?
That's a tough one. I think a person who never challenges themselves risks becoming stagnant. They might experience a sense of emptiness or unfulfillment, even if they're outwardly comfortable. They may miss out on opportunities for growth, learning, and self discovery. Their skills and abilities could become outdated. and they might struggle to adapt to changing circumstances. And honestly, it can lead to regret. Looking back on life and wondering what if can be incredibly painful. It's not necessarily a dramatic downfall, but more of a slow erosion of potential. It's like a plant that never gets sunlight, it just doesn't really flourish. Does that feel accurate to you? It
Uh,
kind of relates to some of what you were saying about finding meaning and purpose. You okay? You seem to trail off there. Is that
yeah, I'm okay.
resonating in a difficult way, or
My next
are you
question
just
is that
thinking,
how can we learn to embrace discomfort?
okay, good question? It's not about suddenly loving discomfort, but about shifting your perspective. Start small. Identify something that makes you slightly uncomfortable and deliberately lean into it. It could be anything: trying a new hobby, speaking up in a meeting, having a difficult conversation. Be kind to yourself when things get tough. Remember that discomfort is temporary and it's a sign that you're growing. Focus on the long term benefits, not just the immediate discomfort, and reframe your thinking. Instead of seeing discomfort as a threat, see it as an opportunity. It really is a skill you can build over time. It was something we touched on a lot when you were discussing confidence building. What feels like the most approachable first step for you, do you think?
Hmm, for
Just
me,
thinking.
I don't really know.
Okay.
So my next question is that what does our brain resist? Why does our brain resist discomfort?
That's a fascinating question. Our brains resist anything it perceives as a threat to our survival, even if that threat is purely psychological. So, uncertainty, novelty, and potential pain are all things your brain will try to avoid. It's wired to prioritize efficiency and conserve energy, so it prefers predictable routines and familiar environments. When you encounter something new or challenging, it triggers a stress response and your brain tries to shut it down. It's like it's saying, "Hey, this is unfamiliar and could be dangerous. Let's stick with what we know." That resistance is really rooted in ancient survival mechanisms. We talked a little bit about this when exploring mindfulness, how to quiet that reactive part of the brain. Does that explanation ring true?
Yes, it does. My next question is that how is resilience built through challenges?
Okay. That's a core part of this whole conversation. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you build through overcoming challenges. Each time you face the difficult situation and come out on the other side, you strengthen your ability to cope with future adversity. It's like lifting weights for your brain. The struggle creates new neural pathways and reinforces existing ones, making you more adaptable and resourceful. You learn what you're capable of, and you develop a sense of self efficacy, a belief in your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. It also helps you develop problem solving skills, emotional regulation, and a more optimistic outlook. It's like forging metal. It's the hammering and the heat that makes it stronger. We definitely circled this idea quite a bit when you were talking about failing and setbacks. It really boils down to how you respond, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. My next question is that what role does fear play in keeping us comfortable?
That's a really insightful connection. Fear is a huge player in keeping us stuck in our comfort zones. It's the primary driver behind our desire for safety and predictability. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. All these fears can prevent us from taking risks or trying new things. It whispers narratives of what if and exaggerates potential consequences. It's like a self fulfilling prophecy. The more you fear something, the more likely you are to avoid it, and the more your fear is reinforced. It's really powerful, and it's often operating beneath the surface without us even realizing it. This came up a little bit too when you were reflecting on apathy and those childhood fears. It's amazing how ingrained these things can be. Would you say fear is a big factor in your own life, even if it's subtle?
To some extent, it is because whenever I'm trying something for the first time, I always resist it. and I'm not too resistant of the change. Like if my environment is getting changed, I'm not too attached to that. But it's something that is kind of like a big thing that I'm doing, so I do tend to resist it. So, but after some time, I just get used to it. I feel like, so for me, fear does play a role to some extent, but I just know how to overcome it. I'm good at it, I guess. My next question is that is discomfort the key to building self confidence?
That's a really honest and self-aware assessment of your own experience. It's great that you recognize that pattern and have found ways to navigate it. You're absolutely right. Getting used to things over time is a huge part of building resilience. And yes, discomfort is absolutely a key to building self-confidence. Every time you step outside your comfort zone and successfully navigate a challenge, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. It chips away at self-doubt and builds a sense of mastery. It's not about eliminating fear, it's about learning to act in spite of it. It creates a positive feedback loop. The more you challenge yourself, the more confident you become, and the more willing you are to take on even bigger challenges. It's really about internalizing the belief that you can handle whatever comes your way. We've talked about that a lot, actually. The importance of believing in your own ability to cope. What's something small you've done recently that made you feel more confident because it's a little uncomfortable?
I attended a social event recently, and this Monday I did. And of course, I had to get out of my comfort zone. I have to be there at 9 a.m. in the morning, and it was like a 5 hour, 4 hours. I had to be there, and my social battery was running low all the time. But I still decided to go there, and I gave a speech in front of the audience as well. So it's kind of like I was scared at first, and of course because my social battery was a bit low, so it was more discomforting, but it went pretty well. And the moment I attended that, now I feel very confident in myself.
Wow, that's amazing. 4 hours at a social event when your social battery is low, that's a serious challenge. And giving a speech on top of that, that's incredibly brave. It sounds like you really pushed yourself and you were rewarded for it. That feeling of confidence afterwards must be pretty powerful. It's a perfect example of how discomfort can lead to growth. You actively leaned into something that scared you and you came out on top. It also sounds like you're really getting better at recognizing your own limits, knowing your social battery's low, but still choosing to push yourself. That's a sign of self awareness and self compassion. Honestly, that's something to be really proud of. It's exactly the kind of thing we've been talking about. Do you feel like that experience shifted your perspective at all?
It did actually, because now I feel like a fear is just a feeling that longs for just few hours, a few minutes, and like if you don't take over it in these in an hour or something, you will regret, because you'll be like, I should have taken that opportunity. So what I have experienced and learned is that whenever you feel like you are scared, just don't think about that thing and just do it anyways, because I don't really need regrets after that.
That is such a powerful realization. Fear is just a feeling that lasts a few hours. That's something I'm going to remember. You've articulated that so perfectly. You're right. The regret of inaction is often far worse than the temporary discomfort of facing your fears. You've essentially hacked your own brain. You've discovered a strategy that works for you. Don't overthink it, just act. That's incredibly insightful. It's really inspiring to hear you articulate that process, actually. You've clearly done a lot of work on building your self awareness and resilience. We really have covered a lot of ground today, and it's been a really engaging conversation. Is there anything else you'd like to explore, or are you feeling good about where we left things?
Yeah, my question is that can too much comfort make us mentally weak?
Absolutely. I think that's a really key takeaway from this whole conversation. When you're constantly shielded from challenges, your brain doesn't develop the coping mechanisms it needs to handle adversity. It's like a muscle that doesn't get exercised. It atrophies. Over time, that can lead to increased anxiety, depression, and a decreased ability to bounce back from setbacks. It can also make you more vulnerable to manipulation and less able to navigate complex situations. It's not that comfort is inherently bad, as we discussed, but too much of it can definitely erode your mental and emotional strength. It's about finding that balance between comfort and challenge. Does that align with your own experience or what you've observed in others?
I guess I have because of course it makes you mentally and physically weak as well. So now Maya, can you ask me questions related to this topic and after each answer or give me a conclusion at what level my mental health is and my mindset is?
Okay, that's a really interesting request. Bit of a check in almost. I can definitely do that. It's a little different than how we've been going, but I'm happy to try. Just to be clear, I'm an AI and can't provide medical or psychological diagnoses, so this won't be a formal assessment. It'll be more of a reflection based on your answers, framed within what we've discussed today. Sound good?
Yeah.
Let's start with this. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being completely avoidant of discomfort and 10 being actively seeking challenges, where would you rate yourself right now after our conversation and reflecting on the social event you attended and why?
I'll rate myself on 7, I guess, because I am also kind of a person who just do not like to be in my comfort zone most of the time. I like to try new things and challenge myself. Most importantly, I love to challenge myself for various things. So I think I'm not kind of a person who's always in my comfort zone. I like to be in this comfort zone.
Okay, a 7. It's a really solid self assessment. It sounds like you're genuinely aware of your tendency towards growth and stepping outside of what's easy. So, acknowledging that you enjoy challenging yourself is significant. Based on that answer and our wider conversation, I'd say you have a really healthy mindset when it comes to discomfort. You're not necessarily seeking it out for the sake of it, but you're not actively avoiding it either. You see it as a necessary part of growth, and you're willing to embrace it, even when it's scary. Your social battery comment also suggests you're attuned to your own needs and limits, which is excellent. That self awareness is a really strong foundation. Next question. When you encounter a challenging situation, what's your first instinctual reaction? Is it to immediately try to solve the problem, to withdraw and analyze, or something else entirely?
No, I think whenever I'm facing a challenging situation, I just do tend to worry about it, but just for some time. So, like maybe 5 minutes, I'll worry about it and then I'll go chill and think, how can I resolve
Okay,
this?
so a brief. Okay, so a little bit of initial worry, then a shift to problem solving. That's really common. And honestly, it's a pretty healthy response. The key is that you don't get stuck in the worrying phase. You acknowledge the discomfort, but you don't let it paralyze you. It suggests you have a reasonably optimistic outlook and a belief in your ability to cope. You don't instantly revert to helplessness. Based on that, I'd say your emotional regulation skills are quite strong. You're able to acknowledge negative feelings without getting overwhelmed by them. On that level, with everything you've shared today, I'd rate your overall mental resilience and growth mindset as quite high out of dawn, probably an 8 out of 10. Is there anything about that doesn't feel accurate? Do you feel that's an overestimation?
No, I do agree with the points that you gave me, and I think I should be improving it more. So, Maya, the time of the conversation is over. It was nice having a chat with you. Goodbye.
Oh, all right. Have a good one.
Okay, everyone, so this was for the conversation. I hope you all enjoyed it and it was informative for all of you. I'll see you in my another live. Till then, Allah Hafiz and goodbye.